Moana is the new Disney animation brought to us by the guys who gave us such other Disney films like The Great Mouse Detective, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Treasure Planet, Hercules, and The Princess and the Frog. And this movie follows the character of Moana, who is next in line to be the chief of her village on this island. Unfortunately, she doesn't really want to be a chief, she just wants to go out and explore on the water, go beyond the reef that surrounds the island, but her father always tells her that it's not safe. However, when the village is soon in danger of death, Moana finally gets her chance to go over beyond the barrier reef and search out the demigod Maui, voiced by Dwayne Johnson, and she has to team up with him to help stop this evil that might be destroying her island soon. Disney has been proving themselves to be one of the best film companies like ever right now, so obviously I was excited for this movie. I was also excited when I found out that the creators of The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Treasure Planet were going to be doing this, because those three out of the ones they've made are really good, and I wanted to see what they could do with this movie, and it turned out to be not only spectacular, but my new favorite animated movie of 2016. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, Jackson, you said that about Zootopia, and you also said that about Kubo and the Two Strings. I know, but seriously, Moana is the best animated movie to come out this year. If I had to rank them, number 3 would be Kubo, then 2 Zootopia, and then Moana. All 3 of those are great, but Moana is my new favorite of the whole year. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it right now. This movie mainly focuses on the 2 characters of Moana and Maui, voiced by Alu Cravalho, I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name, and Dwayne Johnson. You have Moana, who's a very determined person. She wants to get her job done and go out exploring. But then you have Maui, who doesn't really give a crap. He wants to do whatever he wants and doesn't really care about this quest. And these 2 really balance each other out and have really great chemistry, which is really funny to say for animated movies, since you know that most likely the people voicing the characters haven't really met and probably only did their lines separately. But it still is so awesome when you see that the characters still have chemistry with each other just because of their characteristics and how they bounce off each other due to great dialogue. Moana is probably one of the best Disney heroines of all time, though. She is really that incredible, because even though she is very determined and she wants to go out exploring and she is kind of this positive person, there is a little bit of emotional baggage that she carries while she's on this quest, and that just created for a far more interesting character while you see her on this journey trying to overcome some obstacles. And she's also a really good character because of her voice. Alu Cravalho, I cannot imagine another voice coming out of Moana's mouth. She is literally the perfect person to play her. She was fantastic, and from what I remember, this is like her first movie ever, so that is also amazing, and I want to see this actress in more things. I hope she has a great future ahead of her, because she was spectacular in this movie. But of course, you can't forget about the man himself, Dwayne Johnson, who voices the demigod of the wind and sea, Maui, in this movie. He was great in this movie. He's a very likable person, and his voice, whenever you hear it, you just want to smile. He's a little arrogant in this movie, but still, he's a very likable personality. But what also makes the Maui character so entertaining and so good is that later on in the movie, they reveal that he does have a heart. In fact, there's one moment where he's kind of going over his life, and there was one detail mentioned where I was like, oh my, whoa. That's pretty sad. And there was also one great moment with Dwayne Johnson's character where he sings the song, You're Welcome, and it also helps that it was arranged by Lin-Manuel Miranda. You might know him from the Hamilton play that's really popular right now. That song was so entertaining to listen to, and Dwayne Johnson, I knew he could sing because I'd seen him do it on SNL and in Journey to the Mysterious Island. I just was so curious to see how he was going to work with a Disney song, and it was wonderful, so funny. And also, all of the music was good. They had Lin-Manuel Miranda and 2 other people I'm forgetting work on the music for this movie, but it was all really good. The overall score and the soundtrack. There's one song in this movie sung by Moana that I think can become extremely popular, and I'm calling it right now. This song that I'm mentioning will most likely be nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars, and maybe have a chance of winning too. The animation, though, is also something to marvel over. As soon as I saw the water, the ocean in this movie and how it moved, as soon as I saw it, I realized that Disney made a better animated movie with the ocean than Pixar did with Finding Dory earlier this year. Just to remind you guys, I liked Finding Dory. It's a good movie, and the animation's good in that, but this movie, the animation is just stupendous. It is seriously some of the best animation of this whole year. It is the best animation of the whole year. Everything from the water, the landscapes, and even the designs of certain creatures and monsters looked very good, like the Kakamoras, like these coconut things that are kind of like a parody of Mad Max. That was a really fun sequence when they were introduced. There's also this giant crab named Tamatoa, voiced by Jermaine Clement. He's a really fun addition to this movie. There was one moment in particular in a scene where the animation just stood out for him. It was, whoa, that was beautiful. And speaking of fun characters, I thought that the animal sidekick in this movie was going to be that pig that was in the first ever teaser trailer that was shown. I thought it was going to be him, but in actuality, he's only in it for like 2 minutes. The actual animal sidekick in this movie is a really stupid chicken named Hey Hey. He is so stupid that it is lucky that he's even alive in this movie. And I also found it really funny how he actually has a voice actor, and it's Alan Tudyk. You might recognize him as King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph, Duke Wesselton from Frozen, Duke Weaseltown from Zootopia, and one guy from Big Hero 6, who I'm kind of forgetting. I just found it really odd that he only really does like chicken noises, clucks, and just random miscellaneous sounds, and it's Alan Tudyk doing that. Oh, and K-Tuso! He's K-Tuso in the upcoming Rogue One, and he's doing this chicken too. But moving on from that, the action sequences were also really fun to watch in this movie. The animation also looked really well for that too, and the music that was going on during those action scenes was really great to listen to. This movie is such a great experience. You have a great score going on in the background while you're staring at some great visuals while you're witnessing these fun action sequences. Guys, I honestly am having a hard time finding any flaws with this film, and I know a lot of people are trying to say, oh, the theme isn't as deep as Zootopia was earlier this year, and that's kind of a weird comparison. I think it's kind of unfair to criticize a movie just because its theme wasn't as deep as another movie's theme. Because really, not every movie needs to have a theme so deep that it makes you reflect on life itself. Sometimes it just needs a little theme like, hey, you need to find out who you really are on the inside. You need to become the person you want to be. What really matters is how it's presented in the movie. What do they do to deliver said theme or message? And in this movie, the way they presented it was beautiful. It hit me so emotionally that when I actually reflected on it, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a really simple message. But the way they presented it made it seem like so much more. And I know a lot of people are going to go, well, it hit some story beats that are similar to other Disney movies, and though yes it does, it also really helps how it's presented in the movie. Does it work for the movie? And I think it does. Earlier this year I criticized Zootopia because I predicted something, and there were some moments in the movie that I found to be a little cliche, but really looking back on it, it still worked for the movie. So really, that was a really bad flaw that I had, and Zootopia is actually an A+, but for moving on from that, the same thing really applies for Moana. Though the story beat may be a little familiar, does it work for this character? Does it work for the movie? And yes, it does. Overall, guys, Moana is a fantastic animated film you need to see right away, and I hope that this movie does really well, because I would like to see Maui and Moana interact with each other again. I would like to see more of this world of gods, demigods, and monsters. I'm gonna give Moana an A+. This is a masterpiece of animation. It's my new favorite one of the whole year. It has great characters, great visual effects, some great action scenes, and overall this movie is just a lot of fun, and it's a really good movie. Check it out right away. But if you've seen Moana, leave in the comments below of what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.